if they can do it right, and you sort of have like, the because one of the issues I have with the current system is like the jump from like PS ammo to like BP ammo in the 7.62 is like, wow, that's a big jump. It's like a huge power spike. Whereas this kind of like doesn't make the curves as important. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
Yeah, because armor penetration is not important anymore.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of
Because no one's
variables. Like,
wearing any armor, hooray!
welcome to ScavTalk, an Escape from Tarkov podcast with a continued focus on development of the game, patch note analysis, theory crafting, and general gameplay discussions. My name is Church. I'm one of your hosts. I am a video editor for a content creator in Tarkov named Airwing Marine.
And I am GigaBeef, a Tarkov YouTuber who likes to die a lot on Interchange. And welcome back to ScavTalk, everybody. And how are you, Church? I had a terrible, terrible time on Interchange today. It was bad. So I hope that you've had a better week.
It's been good, man. It's been pretty good. I've actually been getting back into the swing of things for Tarkov,
That's
and
nice.
yeah, it's shout out to the daily quests. You got me, BSG.
Mm.
You got me.
Yeah, the daily quests are pretty cool. I think they're probably I guess the biggest topic, I suppose, in some ways, in terms of like what got updated, just because people were kind of either on the bandwagon or not sure about it. And I do think it's a good thing for the game, and having them in and the way that they feel pretty nice, you know?
Yeah,
And like, if you don't like them, you could just leave them. Like, I think that's part of the thing about the original Quest series is that you get stuck on the ones that you don't like, and then you just leave
yeah,
them. And then eventually you like, oh, every quest I have sucks.
yeah,
And you're just kind of like, and then
yeah.
you're just like stuck in this mode where you're like, I have stuff to do, but I don't want to do any of it.
That's true.
Um, which really no, de-incentivizes people to play, I think. Whereas then when it's like, oh well, I have this thing, oh, but it's only for 24 hours, but like I know I can do it. I just need to like get on and do it. And it
Yeah,
kind of like incentivizes you to go into the game or whatever. Like even if it's something kind of easy, it's like, well, I now I have something to do broadly. It's like it's almost, I don't know, it's one of those things in EFT where it's like, this is going to be like a really random analogy actually, but there was a really fancy hotel that one of my aunts and uncles went to one time. And
okay.
basically it's like super fancy and you can go there, but they've got like a chef and they'll like cook you whatever you want whenever. And like same thing for like, lunch, dinner and stuff. And I was like, I'm not sure if I would like that, because then it means that like I have to decide constantly about like what to have, like almost kind of like come up with, I don't know, I'm sure they'll give you suggestions, but like it's difficult. Whereas like if you have like, if you go somewhere and it's like there's two set menus and you pick the set menu number one or the number two,
Right.
and it's like, okay, well now it's easy. So like Tarkov almost is like, I don't know, it falls into that same category because it's just like, well, you could use any of these guns on any of these maps, on any of these playstyles, and do anything you like. And you're just like, I can do anything I like, but I don't know what I want to do. Whereas like the daily quest kind of like focuses the mind and says, okay, fine, I know where I need to go because the thing has already told me, and I'd like the XP, so I'm gonna go to customs, or I'm gonna go to factory, or whichever. So it kind of like helps you make up your mind, at least at least for me anyway. Because like a lot of the time, I don't really mind where I go usually.
Hmm.
There are, I definitely have preferred maps and stuff, but sometimes you just want to play. You almost, I think that's why at the end of Last Wipe, I almost feel like we're like hitting on something fundamental here, but slightly maybe missing a key element here. I don't know. I just have this feeling. But like at the end of Last Wipe, something that became super popular was the random loadout thing, right? Where like you press the button and it tells you the map, the gun,
Yeah.
like a scope or something, and like what you're gonna have to wear with it. And it takes all the player choice out of it, and you just go, and then you just make the best of it that you can. I know there's a few things like this that I'm seeing that just like it feels like people kind of want that. They don't necessarily want all the choice, They don't necessarily want to be able to choose anything because then they don't choose anything and don't play instead. Anyway, so I mean that's like a very very long aside, but I've been enjoying daily quests. It's kind of helped me not really get back into the game because I've still been playing it when I can, but it's just like being so time limited. It's kind of like I've tried to like optimize around it. So like the one
Yeah.
weekly, I finished my weekly quest basically, which was like 60 headshots on scavs
Ooh.
on any map, and it was kind of interesting. It was just kind of like I like the thought process behind like how exactly to do this, like where is the best to do this, like how am I going to fit it into my schedule, that kind of thing, as opposed to
Yeah.
necessarily just like grinding through and doing it. And yeah, basically I ended up just like I did few different maps in some different ways, but like I was doing it in between other stuff. I'd like go on customs and I'd go and lie in a bush for like 30 minutes and just leave it there. And I was like editing, doing whatever, like doing
Oh,
house stuff, like whatever,
the
and then
true
come back
min-maxer.
because all the PMCs are gone at that point, and then you're just like, eat a Sauri, swig of the Aquamari, and like off we go, right? And I was getting like, on some of the good runs, I was getting like 15, 16 scav headshots in like one raid because like there's no PMCs, there's like player scavs here and there, but there's scavs everywhere
Mm,
because I'm the only person left basically, and I just
yeah.
go from one side of the map to the other and just clear them out. And I think it probably took me about 7 raids in total, I think, to do the 60 headshots, which I was quite surprised
How
how quickly that
many
happened.
how many hours
But
would you say, including
I would
AFK time?
say, oh, including AFK time. I
Yeah,
mean, because I was there until like 5 minutes, so probably like game time. It's what 40 minutes times like seven or something, 7 or 8. I can't remember exactly how
that's
many
actually
raids it
really
was. So
good.
so that was not too bad. But given that like the first 20 minutes for sure, I think normally the first 25 minutes I wasn't even there anyway. I was doing something else. It's like
Yeah.
it was interesting kind of like strategizing how to actually go and complete that. So no, it was fun. Did like yeah, I don't know. No, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I had my weekly was survive customs 28 times, and, like, the
See,
first 20, I legitimately just played it, like, however I wanted to, right? I just did my own thing. And then the
yeah.
last 20, I was like, "Okay, it's time to start cheesing, like, let's bring out the Gouda cheese, dude. Let's bring out the Gouda cheese." Because it sucks if you spend, like, 30 minutes in a raid, and then you're on your way
hmm
to extract, and then just some guy kills you, and it's like,
hmm
"Oh, well, there's 30 minutes gone down the drain, I guess, I'll just try again." It happens again, it's like, "Okay, there's another." So I did the math, I think it took me somewhere between, like, 12 hours and, like, 16 hours, and that was, like,
Yeah.
a couple of days, spread apart. So, like, I don't know, it's like it's hard because part of me thinks that, like, what you're essentially doing there's a lot of things we could talk about this, but what you're kind of doing is trading time/rubles for EXP for these
Yeah.
dailies or possibly the rewards. Like, I saw some rewards were, like, 120 rounds of Lapua AP. It was like, "Oh
Some
my
were
god."
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it could vary, but, I guess since you do get to that point, some people like myself, I have a couple of tasks that are just like, God, I honestly don't even know. You know what I mean? But it's like I don't really need, but if I want to get level 42, then it's like I should do quests because they'll give me a big chunk of EXP. Um, so it's like charisma is one. I got to get charisma level 10, but it's just like you just loot a bunch of things. That's like annoying. I can't even remember which I mean, I have, like, some Tarkov shooter ones, but leveling sniper skill, like, God, I know you're talking about that on stream today, I'm just like, "God, kill me." I've done that too many times, dude, I cannot sit in a bush and load a Mosin, like, I just can't be bothered anymore. And that's kind of the thing is, like, these dailies and, like, old task, if you will, they kinda share similarities, like, shoot scavs in the leg from 15 meters away, go find this item and turn it in, but it's so much more diversified, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, you have a linear quest system versus a, uh, randomly generated quest system, so it's like,
hmm
God, how many times have I looted stuff, hoarded because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, I need this to turn to the next quest, so then that unlocks the next quest, and I can turn these propane tanks into the next quest, and then I gotta go here and kill these guys at the AKM," like, it's so like, I've done it so many times, but this adds,
Yeah.
like, a whole new like, "Oh, what do I have today?" "Oh, I gotta." And the other interesting part is I feel like the meta might kinda shift to you hoarding stuff, because if you have, one quest I got was, like, turn in a G phone and a GPX phone. It's like, "Oh my god, I have 2 of those found in raid." Like, I'm glad I didn't sell those, and it's like, maybe you get one quest that's like, "Turn in 6 toilet papers." It's like, "Oh god, I need toilet papers," but if you were just hoarding your toilet papers, it's just like an easy free XP. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting how that could play into it once we get into the next wipe and how the dailies will sort of drive players to maybe diverge from like the typical traditional not storyline quest but the old quest system if you will
Yeah.
because these quest gives trader rep now also, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm,
So it's like it's
yes.
kinda interesting if you really do those dailies, each day, and maybe you do a couple of the old quests. I'd be interested to see how it stack up. Maybe you would get, like, level 42, but you're only midway through the old quests, you know? You don't have to go through some of those repeatable ones. I don't know, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like when they brought it in and they said, "Oh yeah, so you're going to do these things and you get exactly EXP and you get
Mhm.
some reward, but like, some of the rewards are like completely juiced up and crazy, but like for the most part, like the rewards are just, some token stuff. But it's really the EXP that you're trading your time to get. But then, and they said, "Oh yeah, and you're not going to get trader rep." And everyone was like, I think most people were like, "Okay, that makes sense," because like the trading rep system is designed off the old quest system,
Sure.
which has certain levels at certain points. You have to go through some difficult and annoying stuff to get to certain levels, whatever, it's fine. And I don't know whether I just like missed it or something or wasn't paying attention. Like I didn't see too many people complaining about that so much because it made sense to me and I think it made sense to a lot of other people too. And then they were like, "Oh, by the way, now it's going to give you rep." And everyone's like, "All right,
Yeah.
cool. I'm not going to say no to that." But like,
Yeah.
I'm interested to see exactly like you said how that's going to balance it. Whether you can just kind of replace a lot of the annoying tasks with the dailies because all the weeklies even because like I think my weekly it seems to dramatically depend on level like
Right.
even at level like I wouldn't consider myself a high level because I'm not even max traders but like at level 39 that I am now I think my weeklies give like 68k XP or something which is it's
Yeah.
decent it's like two-thirds of a level or
Yeah.
something but it's not like I guess it's probably like two-thirds of a level because like by the time you're getting to like level 45 and 46 and or something, it's like quite a bit more XP to get
Mhm.
to that next level than it is at 39. Like it's just the way that it works. It's one of those stupid things, isn't it? It's always the way where it's like, 45 to 50 takes as much time as the entirety of level 0 to level 49, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I guess it sort of makes sense. But no, it's interesting to see like how that's going to get balanced and whether that's going to kind of disrupt stuff and just mean that people just shoot up to like max trader level.
Yeah.
I guess not because like how many times you I don't know. Well, I guess you play standard mostly, so for you guys it might make a big difference. Because for me, normally I'm level locked before being like rep locked. I've normally completed the quests required
Oh,
first, so
I didn't
your
even think
levels are
about
still going to
that.
be locked there. And so like where I'm level locked is usually like again, it's always levels. It's always
It's usually
levels. It's like
levels, yeah.
mechanic 3 and stuff. Like if it's normally level based. I think it was only Jaeger who like I had some
Jaegers,
issues with
yeah.
because I had to push him up a little bit. And it's like early Jaeger is the problem
Yeah.
normally. Like normally Jaeger's like the first one that I get to level 4 because
Yeah.
getting up to like level 2 is really really tough and there's like you have to do like one quest and then he's like right and here's one quest oh and here's one quest and each one's like tiny and all the other people are like taking point minus point one and you're like god this is misery and then you get to a certain point in his quest tree where it's just like visit resort and find my photograph and you're like this is so easy and there's
Yeah.
loads of like easy quests that appear and it's like kill Rashala guards and do this and that and the other kill Rashala get his gun and whatever like once you end up in those quests you're like this is great and I have like 4 different ones running from him at the same time, and like it ends up not being too hard. But like those first ones, it's just like such a linear pathway, and you have to do such specialist things to make it through. And that might just help a little bit with him. That might be quite a good thing. But I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference for the other ones, especially on EOD, because you have that extra rep boost at the beginning where it doesn't really, means you don't really need to worry about it too much.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the disruption will happen because I'm kinda already thinking that, if, like, let's say you got lucky and you got, kill 100 scavs across Tarkov. So, like, you're just grinding those quests out, and then you just, like it's almost just like, extra EXP. It's like, yeah, I can do instead of, like I think some people might have the opportunity to, like, I'll just keep doing these tasks, and then I'll add these on top. Like, I'll go to these, like, very linear, very specific ones, like, go to customs, mark the tanks, or the fuel tankers. Oh, I, like, also gotta shoot scavs 60 meters in the leg. It's like, okay, it's just like you kinda, like, just min-maxing, stacking on. So I wonder how much that will, like, exponentially just shoot up people XP-wise to, like, that next, couple tiers.
Yeah, it definitely could do. It definitely could do. We're just gonna have to see. Like, yeah, I think it's as you're saying. People are gonna play around it and plan around it a bit more as well, and like try and stack stuff where they can. And it is more dynamic, but people are going to know like maybe there's hopefully every item is sort of usable, but I guess it's going to be the low level items that are the ones for like the hand in task. And yeah, I think people are going to hoard a bit more. Like I don't hoard anything at the
Mhm.
moment, and I probably should. I just haven't hoarded anything for ages, just because I don't really need to. And so I
Yeah.
normally sell everything, and my junk box is like full of Fedora basically. Um, it actually didn't get that expensive in the thing. I sold some of it, but it didn't
Oh,
get that.
yeah.
It didn't actually didn't get that crazy. It was. I think it's just because the crafts keep it low, and
Yeah.
actually, more importantly, I mean, this is completely off topic, but like more importantly, an interesting thing of this is just like, right, well, surely Ghidorah and all the rare fabrics are going to get like really really crazy expensive. Well, no, because all the barters are sold out as well because Ragman's not selling anything. So it's just like, okay, well, no one needs the stuff because like you can't buy the armors. So whatever. I think it was kind of a moot point. But anyway, I don't
Mm.
really keep any of that stuff, and I think I'm probably going to start, especially some of the like low level things, because like I don't need the money from selling it. May as well just keep it in the junk box because just the ability to like turn stuff in. It's a bit like in the cycle, when you get a quest from one of the traders and it's just like, oh, bring me this stuff, and you're like, oh, I already got it because I like kept it in my
Yeah.
stash
Yeah.
from before. It's a bit like that now, which is it's okay. It's okay. It
Mhm.
sort of helps to reinforce those hoarder tendencies that we have in Tarkov in general. Um, but yeah, no, it's good. I did two sets today. It was actually kind of like fun the way it worked out because I had um, I only chose like one out of the three, but I had to extract twice out of factory. But because
Mhm.
where the resets were working when I actually booted up today, I had 40 minutes remaining on all
Oh,
the three
okay.
dailies, and I hadn't looked at which ones they were. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I can extract twice out of factory in 40 minutes. I had a good time. Kind of potatoed quite a few fights and stuff, but it was fine. We managed to escape twice. One time it was really weird. I had the MP7 and it just like at Tagilla as he was like running across the like factory
Mhm.
floor in the new area, and then he just disappeared. I was like, okay, so I just left. I'd already killed the scavs, so that was fine. And then yeah, and then I had like survived twice on interchange, which then I did afterwards. I was trying to get sniper skill up, so I went in like super geared like twice, died, and then was just like, right, screw this, we're going in with the rat rig and the VPO, and I actually had a much better time. It was more funny. It was interesting. I
Uh,
just like we've talked about interchange before, but I play it like I'm good at the map, and I'm not, and I just die instead.
Now the VPO you bought, was that a scav one or was that a brand new
No, I
one?
bought the real one from Jaeger.
Did you do the bartered? Have you seen that?
What for the? This is the Bolty one,
I was thinking of the 101. You're talking about the
the Bolt,
115?
whatever one it's called. The Bolt action
Yeah, the
VPO,
bolt,
the
that one.
366 Bolt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. That's right, 'cause I
Yeah,
remember
that's the one I was
you
using.
shooting that one on stream.
Yeah, yeah, which was good. But yeah, I don't know, like. What other like tasks have you had? Because I just feel like in some ways like I like them,
Um,
but as they get harder, like 26 extracts from customs or something, like it's kind of extreme. It's sort of a bit samey, I
it's
don't know.
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like okay, granted, it's a weekly task. So, like, I did it in, like, 3 to 4 days, I wanna say. 3
Mm.
days, I think. Um, like, 4 hours each session, give or take, and mostly 5 hours each session, but I mean, it's like but my next one was so much easier, which was kill 20 scavs in the chest or stomach, and I was just
20.
yes, and I was just like, "What?"
See, I
Like,
just
I
got
could
that
get
one, but
this
it's
done
60.
in the chest or stomach, or was it in
Yeah,
general?
yeah,
Really? That's really
on
weird.
on factory.
See, mine was anywhere.
Mine's on factory. My first one was anywhere. The headshots one was anywhere. This new one is like on factory, chest or something. It has to be 60 as well. I was just like,
Ooh, I wish I had that quest,
really?
dude.
Like, I don't know. Like, I guess you just like wait until the end. I actually didn't try it. I should try it. Just like wait until it's just like the death match to, you know, get swarmed by players because there are a lot of player scouts towards the end. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. Maybe it's an interesting one to try. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
what loadout do you take in when you're fighting
Well,
against PMCs right at the start, but mostly scavs at the end? It's an interesting one.
Magnum Buck, baby. Get that Sega drum mag, dude. Dude, okay, actually, I wanna go into this tangent.
Okay.
I I was watching someone's YouTube video, Von Helsing. Okay, I don't know have you ever heard of
Hmm.
Von? Okay, yeah, he's great.
I probably watched the same video that you did. Was it the
With
one where he's with Swamp Fox?
yes, and I was watching it, and I'm just like, "He's not even aiming at their legs, he's just mag dumping them and they're dying. How is this
Yeah.
possible?" And so I'm just like, "Okay, I need to test this for myself." So I brought in I think I brought in the KS-23, and I'm just, like, shooting in their general direction, and they're just dying sometimes. So I'm
Yeah.
like, uh, flesh damage buff? Monk S? Like,
Yeah,
dude, it's
that's the
actually
thing. It's like
kinda crazy.
like flesh damage buff, like armored rigs, like blunt damage buff. All of these things combined together they really make it so you die quick. I really do think that you die quite quick,
I wish I had the numbers.
you might also hit a pellet in the head as well. Like this is the thing: if you just like pellet someone in the head, or you just
Right,
pump
right.
it through, it's like there's lots of different ways that a magnum buckshot shell kills you. You
You
know?
could hit him in the arm even if they're not wearing
Yeah,
arm armor, and a lot of people,
yeah. No
like,
one is like no
y
one's wearing
I
arm
mean,
armor. It's just so out of meta.
sometimes they'll have a Zabralo on. Like, I was just fighting a
Yeah, very
guy,
occasionally.
and
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure he had a slick, and I shot lower stomach. I thought I was like, he looked like he was naked, but I guess he had a slick on, and he ate all my I think 1 pellet hit him, but I could tell he was aiming at my toes because he also had a KS-23.
That's
Dude,
the ultimate, like, KS-23 slick in a KS.
the ultimate chat.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm gonna pull up Battle Buddy and just run some numbers because it's just like if it's like 1 less pellet on both Magnum and the KS-23, I don't know. I was just okay, so to be fair, the KS-23 was broken for the longest time, right? I think we covered that at some point. It was like the pellets were going down, like literally just flying into the
Yes.
ground. So they fixed that. Um, thank God, because how would we ever live without that gun in the game? Dude, honestly, I've been using the KS-23 a lot in Factory. It's been a lot of fun, but it does feel borderline broken because it's just like, I don't know, you just shoot in their general direction, and it's like, maybe you kill them, maybe you don't. I don't know. It's like glass hallway, you spawn at forklift.
Yeah.
I literally just spawned there, ran, I did like, I ran across and I looked and I saw there was a guy there. So then I re-peek and I shoot 1 shell, and then I re-peek again and he's on the floor. I'm like, "Oh, I got him." Like, but I'm just like, I'm shooting across the I don't know if I headshot him, I don't remember, but it's just
That's
like,
crazy.
"What?" Yeah, it's I don't know, dude,
I do
it's
distinctly remember, right, and this is back before they'd fixed it even. I had a fight with a guy who was basically
Mhm,
naked on interchange with using the KS, and I didn't realize at the time. I didn't actually know what he had because we were at a decent distance. We were in the car park outside in one of the car park sections, and he was kind of like in the middle of the car park, and I was sort of at the edge,
okay.
as you're kind of going towards the actual main kind of shopping center thing. So it's like a decent distance, and I see him running, and I take a shot, but I miss, and he hides behind the car, and I'm like, okay. So I like peek out of like the left hand side of my cover, and then he just like fires like once at me and like blacks my arm instantly, and I'm just like, oh my god, what is this? I don't even know. Like I was trying to like, what gun is this? Because I couldn't make it out.
Yeah,
And then I like peek the other side, and like he blacks my right leg with like one shot, and I'm like, oh my god, like oh geez, I'm gonna die here. This is crazy. And then like I finally managed to kill the guy and go over, and I'm just like, oh, it's KS, right? So it's like any pellet that touches you. I think I was wearing a slick or something, so it's just like any pellet that touches you anywhere, just like blacks that limb entirely, right? It's like it's crazy
mhm.
because people just aren't wearing armor on their arms, on their stomach, on their legs, and if you're not wearing a face shield, on your head as well. And it's like it's madness, it's real crazy.
How much damage do you think a single pellet does?
The KS
Yeah. Do you know?
Trap 10,
Yes.
Trap 10, it does 87.
I didn't know that. I
It's absurd.
That's a
Dude,
lot
it
of
is absurd.
damage,
It's
dude.
absurd. And it fires
Um,
eight shells? Eight pellets?
let's see. Wait,
I'm pretty sure. I've got
I think it's like
the ballistics.
600 total damage, like 600 some change. I just had it.
Yeah, it's eight. It's 8 times 87. Yeah, it's mental.
Oh yeah,
It's
dude,
completely
that's
insane.
crazy. Yeah, and
Yeah,
here's
it means you only need to hit somebody with if you hit someone with
5,
five, right? That does 435 damage. They're 5 HP away from death.
and it's 87. Let me see if I can find a round that has 87 damage because the battle buddy uses all the. Is it okay? So I got one right here. So one, two, three, four, five. That's weird. He's not dead.
Wow.
5 in the leg, he's not dead with 87
Well,
damage.
five shouldn't kill you anyway because you should have 5 health left.
You have 59 in the leg. Weird. Something might be wrong.
I
87.
thought because
87
well, I
times.
thought I was always under the impression that legs have a 1 times and arms have a 0.7 multiplier. So I
87
don't know.
times. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the
You're right.
damage calculator's not updated because
Which round are you using?
HP 762 HP, I think it is. Hold on.
Oh yeah, 762 HP. Interesting. Well, like, yeah, I mean, unarmored, unarmored, that should do five. That should do 435. If the
Yes.
damage is correct,
Yes. But yeah, so 5 wouldn't kill then in the leg, right?
it wouldn't kill them. No, it doesn't. It doesn't
So you need
quite kill you, but you're
6.
fine. But you're yeah. You need 6,
Let me go back here.
but you're 5 HP from death, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're 5 HP from death, which for most people, and given that, let's
Hmm.
see, does Trap 10 have like the extra?
Hmm.
I don't think actually it doesn't have the extra bleed chance.
It doesn't.
Doesn't have extra
So you
bleed
need
chance. No. I
6. All right, so let me reset. Let's do 1 in the
think the chance that
arm.
you do end up with a bleed if you get hit by 5 of the pellets, though, is relatively high. I'm not sure if you could even heal quick enough before you die, but I
Huh.
don't know. Look, it's possible. It's possible. Anyway, yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah, now I'm curious about
It's not a lot.
armor and blunt damage. I just wanna
Yeah, well, that was tested. I think was it Foxy who did the test on that,
yeah,
and
I do
showed
remember
that
that.
actually the of like the level 5 armors, I think the Gazelle was the best for blunt damage for not passing it
Mhm.
through, and then the armored rigs are now the worst. But that's actually like, I think there's just that one video that he's done. It's not really tabulated anywhere.
Well, see, because I
Yeah,
wonder, like, let's say 5 pellets hit the leg, right? And then the other 3 hit the chest or stomach. If that blunt damage is enough to because they're already I think you have, like, I just had it. Gosh, dang it.
that might kill you.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That actually
wondering.
might kill you just because the damage is so high. It might just kill you anyway.
Yeah, I have to run some simulations. Maybe next time we can
Yeah,
talk
I mean, it
about
would
it.
only need to be. It only needs to be like, as we said, it needs to be 5 points. Unless I've like vastly misunderstood something, because I usually think Veritas
Because
Battle Buddy's pretty on it.
the pin is 11 on the Trap 10, which isn't amazing, and I don't know how the blunt damage calculates, but, from my general understanding, if the lower the armor is if it's a class 4 armor and it's at, like let's just say they got into combat and it's at, like, 50%, 10 pin is, like, kinda decent. I mean, it's not 0 pin, 0 pin is, like
Exactly.
yeah. So, it's interesting, but, the other thing that shocked me was the ammo is 85 rubles from the dealer. I was like, "Oh my god." Like, I haven't used this gun in a long time, mind you, and I
Hmm.
was I was just like, "Oh, well, no wonder this thing is so broken because it's so like, the ammo's dirt cheap, dude." Like, the gun's 50K from the dealer. Sure, you can only get 2 per reset, but, I mean, it's just like, dude, the freaking ammo is dirt cheap, and the ammo is, like, god tier of all the flesh rounds. I don't even like, I wonder how much magnum buck is from the dealer. Maybe it's
It's also really cheap.
yeah, but it's like class 4 Jaeger. I think this one is it class 4 Jaeger? Yeah, we better fact check that. Hold on. Here at ScavTalk, we're all about the facts.
Before you suddenly start, peddling
Yeah,
your stuff.
exactly.
So trap 10 is Prapor level 2,
Really? I thought it was
and
3.
Magnum Buckshot is Jaeger level 2.
Okay. So they're
There you go.
relatively equal.
I got killed by Magnum Buck today.
Yeah, I've died recently to it as well. I just don't know, man. That gun just the KS-23 just seems silly, dude. It seems I don't know, dude. It's silly. It feels
Can't
off to
tell
me.
which I can't tell which is which is worse between like the Saiga with the drum with Magnum Buck in it, or the KS, because like at least you have to pump the KS, whereas like the Saiga is just like there's those 20 cartridges, those shells, they're coming at you.
Yeah, yeah. But
So
I
I don't
mean,
know. I'm not sure. It's tricky because the Magnum Buck also does a lot of damage, right? It's like 8 times 50. It's like 400. Yeah, it can't kill you in one hit,
sure.
but it's got high bleed chance and stuff. It's it's rough, and it's every all the time.
But
Like it's different.
let me just put this all into perspective. The reason why this is like come on my radar is because they're talking about in that Pastelli podcast. It was it that podcast? I don't know. The armor rework system. And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, oh my god, dude, it's just gonna make it so just like you're even more vulnerable to like everything. Because dude, 87 damage, that means just if one pellet GigaBeef hits your chest, you're dead. And like that
Yeah, I
little
mean,
pixel where your armor wasn't covering, it's just like
everything will need to be rebalanced, right? Like so, and I've looked at this in fairly decent depth because I did a video on the armor plates thing as well, and
yeah, I remember that.
it's like one of those things where like armor will just become it needs if you kept the exactly same system as we have now and just replaced it with the armor plate system, you'd need the armor plates themselves to be really cheap. They'd have to be really cheap because people wouldn't buy them otherwise, because it really,
Oh.
if it was exactly like it is now, it just like no one's going to, it's not going to do anything. It's just not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything anywhere near enough to stop people from just running naked all the time. Like it won't be worth running any armor. Like no one's going to pay 500,000 rubles for any armor. And people aren't going to pay 200k because even a slick or something, you're just going to get you know beamed through the plate, and that's it. And it's only a tiny little area. It's really not that big actually. Like I didn't really realize, I'm not a military person, but I
Mhm.
didn't really realize how the armor plates thing really works. And like most of them just have like the big plates. They just all slot into like the same size slots. No matter what army like rig, like not like a Tarkov rig, but like a rig for holding plates or
Yeah.
whatever. And they all take the same plates, within certain categories. I'm sure there's different ones that take different types of plates and stuff. But like the big size plate is like the same one that goes in the slick as goes in a few of the others, I think. And so the actual area that you're armored, like yeah, it covers like your vitals, sort of, but like definitely doesn't cover everything. So even from the front, you're still going to be able to shoot like here, like through the
Mhm.
sides, and like here. And if you get caught from the side, like yeah, you're dead. Um, it's gonna have to be reworked quite significantly. I just don't know how. I don't know really how you balance that, other than just making it really cheap. But then you kind of you almost take armor out of the game, really. It's a funny one. I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I'm not sure what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah. It's interesting because now we're kind of in like I don't know, some ways the current meta is just like either you go naked with a KS-23 or some extremely budget gun, um, or you go class 4 armor, which is like basically naked, but it's like anti-scav material.
Mhm.
Or you go, like, to the beefy stuff, like class 5, class 6, right? And, like, the it's like if you're gonna make a meta gun, or even a gun of decent mods, I mean, M4s, you can easily run up an M4 to 200K. I mean, that's as much as a class 5 armor in some cases. It's like, well, I
Yeah,
might as well do that. But if they're gonna keep, um, you know, armor prices the same, and then it's like, but the armor is getting devalued in terms of like how it's, effective use. Then it's like, yeah, would you even I don't know, that'd just be really weird to buy the same. It's like, I don't know, I feel like you might see some people you might just see all class 4s, or maybe you would see no armors, but a little bit more
yeah.
beefier guns in some cases. I don't know, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and they're gonna have to rework the whole thing anyway. Because I imagine they will have. I mean, this is pure speculation, but I imagine there's some. I guess like, are there some armors where they come as is, and then like maybe the ceramics that aren't designed to be like repaired or whatever anyway, so they come like all sewed in or something, and then they're like one use. I don't know.
Hmm.
And then also the ones which is like, yeah, it's like a rig carrier for the plates, and then the plates are just you just move the plates in and out kind of thing. And then the plates themselves are going to have to be. yeah, relatively cheap. If
I see.
even the class 6 versions to make that work, so you're gonna have to like you'll buy like the rig for them to go in, and then you'll buy the the plates to go in that,
Right.
and then those will be in that sort of modular. And like I don't know. I hope that they can come up with some kind of sensible system where the coverage. I mean, maybe they just like stretch the boundaries of realism on this occasion and say, well, the coverage is going to be bigger than it is in real life, but we want the system to be a way so that you could potentially like cover your entire body, but it's going to be like 50 kgs. You know what I mean? So like you then have to choose, okay, where do I want to defend with what kinds of plates? Um, and how is that going to affect my weight and my movement? Because I think that's for me from a game design perspective,
Hmm.
right? Realism aside for a minute, from a game design perspective, that's where the important thing lies for me. Is that where's the trade-off?
Yeah.
Weight on one side and maneuverability and movement, which is the way that the game works now, right? So like maneuverability and weight, whatever. And on the other side, you've got protection.
Hmm.
And some stuff's going to be better on that min max curve of one versus the other.
Sure. Sure.
Um, but that's really where it stands, and it's like, okay, well, I can use this rig, and I put a plate here, and I put a plate
Right.
here, maybe. But I'd learn but like not on the back, say, and it's only on the front, and that's it's like, and that choice is and economics as well, because obviously it's going to cost more to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
more plates. So it's like that choice is going to be interesting. So I hope that they do it in a way that is the emergent behavior out of the decision making of the player base, rather than just being like all armor is now worthless, and even class 6 is only worth like 30k for a plate, because like you put it on, but what's the chance they actually shoot you there? Well, no, you're just going to get KS from 20 meters, and because it's going to hit you here, 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 and here, and now you just instantly die. Or like one of them goes in the thorax and you instantly die. Everyone just uses like, I don't
HP
know,
rounds.
yeah, HP rounds or whatever, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just I don't know. It's Well, there's lots of different ways they could take it, but I hope that they do do it in a game design kind of way rather than like just a pure realism way. Because in a pure realism way, it's just I don't know. I just think it's going to kill armor, and I don't think it'll really work. So I don't think they'll do that. I think like surely they know. Surely they know that would be the case.
Yeah. Have to
Surely,
see. It is interesting because I
yeah.
do feel like it is a missed opportunity that basically all the HP rounds and all the like level 2 penetrators and under like rifle ammos are just like complete garbage. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah,
Hmm.
this is unusable, you know. So I think it will be interesting if they can do it right and you sort of have like, the because one of the issues I have with the current system is like the jump from like PS ammo to like BP ammo in the 7.62 is like, wow, that's a big jump. It's like a huge power spike. Whereas this kind of like doesn't make the curves as important. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
Yeah, because armor penetration is not important anymore. Because
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of
no one's
variables.
wearing
Like,
any armor. Hooray!
but if they do it right,
Yeah,
maybe you buy like the rig that like has the plates for your stomach, your chest, the back, and then I could see it working.
yeah,
Let's- we'll see,
yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. No, it's interesting because it's kind of like it's one of those things where like you end up with like the bottom end is just completely gutted. Like you look at the ammo chart, I'm scrolling through it, and it's just
Yeah,
like all these crappy rounds that no one ever uses.
yeah. There's a million
And
of
then
them.
yeah, and then I'm doing some research at the moment for like some future videos on more armor stuff, because I actually haven't done enough armor stuff, especially not the top tier things. So I think I've now covered off. I did like level 5 one, then I've done level 6 one more
Hmm.
recently. Um, some people are asking for level 4, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it. I don't. Maybe I'll leave it to next wipe. I don't know. I'm undecided at the moment. I just buy the rat rig every time, so it's kind of hard to make of
Good
a video.
choice.
I don't know. Um, it's. I think I almost feel like it could be qualified with a bit more research, as you say, about like blunt damage and that kind of stuff, which I don't really have time to do. But
Yeah.
now I've been looking at like helmets a lot. Actually, I've been looking at helmets a lot,
Hmm.
and it's it's actually quite funny because, as we said, like those things aren't used. The stuff at the top end of the curve isn't used either in terms of armor, just because like some of the other downsides that present themselves are just like crazy. Like some people, I spoke before on one of my other videos about how people don't really change their sensitivity, and so I had like a few of the
Yeah.
crazy people come in the comments being like, "I changed my sensitivity," and I was just like, "Okay, well, you're one of the very few." And I didn't realize, because I was like looking at the Vulcan helmet, because I was just like, nobody uses this thing. Like, literally, I've never seen anybody ever use this thing in raid ever. And it came to my attention that if you have the face shield and the helmet itself, the negative turn speed is minus 42%.
It's ridiculous.
Which if you combine that with the Zabralo, ends up actually being really funny. And I tried it in offline, because the Zabralo, what's the Zabralo one? What's
They're
specifically
like
the
30.
Zabralo turn speed downside? It is, yeah, it's minus 35 move speed. It's minus 21 turn.
Hmm.
So you end up with minus 63% turn speed. And if you don't do anything with your mouse, you go into factory and offline mode, and you're just
Yeah, that's a
like trying to
huge.
turn around. It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. It's actually crazy. It's actually pretty crazy. So I don't know. I feel like in some ways it's a shame that that's also not usable either, because people kind of go for alt in, to get a face shield, that kind of stuff. Because and those big ones just like they just can't be used. Like the downsides are just so high. It's the same thing in the lower end. The downside is so high
Well,
in the lower
they're
end. If you come across anybody wearing level 3 or above, you can't shoot them. From the other side, it's just like there's no point wearing that level of armor, because like the movement penalties and the ergo penalties are so extreme that
yeah.
the upside doesn't weigh against it properly.
Now I'm not too sure about the ergo penalties. Has anyone tested that? I would like to test that
Mm.
actually. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
would
even
also like to
sure
test this.
if
I'm pretty
they're
sure it functions.
okay.
I'm pretty sure it functions, because you can get some gnarly negative ergo. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Yeah, the Vulcan gives you minus 30%, and it
But
feels
it's
it feels like crap.
percentage,
It's percentage. It is
which
percentage.
is like so.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, if I was to do this test, I'd probably get 100 ergo gone, like
Yeah.
just at 100, not any extra stuff because I don't know if Tarkov what happens with the Tarkov math there, and then yeah, to go from there because that would be interesting because here's the other thing, that negative turn speed, if the meta becomes Vulcan, Face Shield, and Zabralo with, like, all these changes coming and whatnot, like, all these plates on and all these negative turn speeds, someone out there is gonna come up with a conversion table, and it's just gonna be
Yeah.
like it's just gonna be one of those things where it's just like, "Okay, I got the meta gear on, let me just punch in these numbers in my calculator and yep, okay, change the what what is BSG gonna do next? Just lock your sensitivity slider, be like, no,
I think it kind
you
of.
will
I
accept this
actually.
artificial thing.
I think it exists already. I think those conversion tables already exist. If you look them
I
up, I think
I'm
they're
not
on Reddit.
surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've
It's
never done it,
annoying, dude.
because I just yeah, it's like it's stupid, right? It's stupid. It's one of the things that I don't really like. I wish they'd just take it out, because you're messing with like the mouse interface, which is
Mhm.
in and of itself isn't a realistic thing. So I just leave the mouse alone. Like it's just no. I sort of I saw like the funny thing is I sort of get it, but I
Yes.
also don't like it. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? Because like when
Yes.
you're
No,
wearing the heavy
100%.
armor, like the first couple of times you're just like, oh, I'm wearing the beefy armor and it feels sluggish, and you're just like, after you realize why though, you're just like, okay, well this is actually crap. But like I get it. I get what they were going for. That's fine. But I don't think it's. I just don't think it's very sensible. Like, yeah, you already have like negative move speed. That's fine, because that like
Right.
don't know.
I
That's
can't
more like it's less. Yeah. Firstly, you can't counter it by
yeah.
changing your mouse sensitivity, and secondly, it feels better,
Mhm.
because we already have like movement speed changes based upon weight and other stuff. So it's like that's okay. It doesn't mess with your muscle memory. I think that's mainly the thing. It doesn't mess
Yeah.
with your muscle memory.
I think it's just because you can. Like, in your like, if I hit W, it goes at 100%. You know what I mean? It's not analog in any sense, like a analog butt controller.
Mm,
But,
yeah.
like, whereas your mouse is, like, kind of like the how fast you move your arm or hand or wrist or whatever, like, it's dynamic in that speed. Like, there was, in Apex Legends, there's this grenade called the Arc Star, and there was this streamer who was really popular, and what would happen is when the Arc Star would hit you, it would drop your sensitivity to like 1%. And it was like a stun, and it would be like electric, and then it would blow up, and like you couldn't move, and it was just a stun grenade. So what he did is he had a button on his mouse that when he pressed it, it just adapted to it. So he just like completely countered the thing, and it was so controversial. But it was like, yeah, it was like I can see what they're going for, but it is just like this super annoying thing. And it's like, God, I can just counter this easily. Like, I don't know. It's like it's kind of like an unfortunate thing of how the interface works with like the mouse and the game and whatnot. But
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I don't really know what got us onto this
I
topic in the
know
first place,
it
but
was
it's
a
been
bit of a
quite
tangent.
interesting.
Yeah. Oh, we
Going
were.
into
Yeah. Go
oh
ahead.
sorry, what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, we were talking about we were talking about factory, and I got on the case 23, and then we were talking about the podcast of Pestilian and whatnot. It's kind of how we got into it.
Ah, yes, 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 indeed, yes, indeed, and yes, because we were talking about the Case
The
23 and the
ballistics,
rounds and the
yes.
bullets, and that's how we ended up on this epic detour. No, no, that makes sense. Yeah, no, we had because we didn't talk about this last week because we had the legend John B
Hmm.
on, um, and we don't have to spend too long on it.
No.
I guess it depends on what comes out, but yeah, we had the podcast. It was really great to see Nice Guy speaking with
Yeah,
Nikita
dude.
directly. That was super cool because like Nice Guy is he's a hero. He's an actual hero of the Tarkov community, as he said himself. If they're not going to give us any dates, timelines, roadmaps, anything like that, then like here I am. I'm going to do it instead. And even Nikita said that he watches his videos, so it's impressive. It's impressive. He's built up a great level of trust from the community in the stuff that he says, and he has like this encyclopedic knowledge of like everything they've ever said and like how it all ties together, which is super cool. He does it better than anyone else I've seen, which is awesome. But I think like overall for me, like it was almost kind of like that played not against him, that's the wrong word, but as in like there weren't any like major surprises out of the podcast because like Nice
Sure.
Guys like documented everything so well, and things that Nikita hasn't said is probably because he doesn't want to say, and so he didn't like reveal anything like too new specifically. There weren't any like massively crazy takeaways. Right, they talked about like a few different bits and pieces about stuff that when you're ready, 12-12 finishing features in Lighthouse, which is going to be cool, and like and VoIP coming.
Hmm.
Um, but we already knew all of that stuff already, and
Right.
DLSS. Now the only thing actually that I guess we can like maybe detour a little bit out was about like Unity 2019 because they did actually release that
Yes.
already now, which is kind of the new thing. I guess maybe we can talk about that in a little bit, but
Okay.
uh, yeah, let's talk about that in a little bit. Um, they were speaking about Lighthouse in particular and about the trader and about how the trader's not going to be there, right, in the first iteration. But when he does go, then you're going to potentially need like a unique item or something, and he's maybe guarded by like one of the scav bosses because they already said before that he was going to be guarded by like a sniper or something. But it sounded like now he's maybe going to be guarded by one of the scav boss, and you needed like, oh, not like a labs keycard, but equivalent item to like go and speak to this guy,
Yeah.
um, which should be kind of interesting. I think like Nice Guy's latest video, he's like speculating again. Like no one really knows, but he was speculating that someone like the heavy ordnance for like anti BTR and that kind of stuff will be on him, so that you can then go and like engage in streets against like the heavy stuff, and maybe not the train, but there's going to be this like BTR vehicle that's going around, and that you're going to be able to use RPGs and whatnot to be able
Yeah.
to destroy this thing. So I think that's going to be kind of cool. I don't know those because like Lighthouse is going to come without that to begin with, and I don't know when they're really going to expand it because it normally takes them a little bit of time to go from original map gets released, then everyone plays it for a while, and then then the expansion comes afterwards. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see. Really, I'm excited to play Lighthouse, but I kind of need to like kick onto it straight away because last time with Reserve, I really just like left it and dropped the ball because there weren't any quests there and stuff. So this time it's going to be
Yeah.
like proper Lighthouse centric, and trying to learn the map properly from the word go. While not everybody's got all the angles and all the routes. Um,
Right.
that was kind of the bane of my life a bit with Reserve. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, this is the thing, right? They like said about the armed train, could move around, use the guns. Um, there's one thing actually that is kind of cool always in Nice Guy's stuff when he's talking about the roadmap is the UN and the Russian forces, which I think would be awesome, and I was actually really looking forward to that. But Nikita did say that they're not working on it. It's planned, but they're not
Mhm.
working on it at the moment. Which I don't know. From my personal opinion about the way that this kind of whole thing is going and the way that Nikita's talking about it, Again, this is
Yeah.
pure speculation for me, but I feel like some of these features are not going to make it.
Oh,
And
really? That's interesting.
I'm not necessarily too sad about it. Like, I would be kind of sad about like UN and like Russian forces not going in, but Nikita said that like features are going to get cut and the game's going to get released. And so some of these things where he says like, "Oh, it's planned, but like we're not working on it." I can imagine something like that fitting into a DLC. You see,
Yeah, that makes
um,
sense. Yeah, 100%. Well,
and
see,
so
how would
yeah,
that work though? Because I mean, we kind of talked about this like 2 episodes ago. How would you have that content on like Shoreline and other people that don't? Like, would you separate the queues up, like DLC queues from non DLC queues? Like, I don't know. That
it's true. It's a good point. It's
could
a
you
good
maybe
point.
they exist in both games, but you couldn't loot them if you didn't have the DLC. That'd
Yeah,
be
that'd be kind
some
of messy,
really,
wouldn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know actually. I guess it depends on like where they're implemented, whether there's like a
sure.
DLC only map that comes with them or something. But then it's a real shame not to put them back into the game. I don't know. Maybe they just put some of this stuff. Yeah, maybe they just do it later. Maybe they just do
Yeah,
it later.
maybe.
Like not for release or whatever. We're just gonna have to see what happens after release. I'm interested to know like how many things are gonna end up in there because they talk. What else? They talked about like unconsciousness, armor
Mhm.
plates, and advanced movement, which he did actually say they were working on the physics for. So that sounds like it's all of that stuff is like in process. I'm not exactly what advanced movement means. I mean, people have said it's like potentially lifting people up over walls like in duos and stuff like that. But like, guy, who really knows?
Mhm.
Um, PMC Karma being redesigned completely from scratch,
I thought that was really
um,
interesting because it
which is interesting, based on what happened with Scav Karma.
yes, that was the thing. So
Mm.
I think that's a good thing in my book because Scam Karma has just been I don't know, I've been very critical of it. I just yeah, I honestly the whole direction sometimes I just think like man, you wouldn't even need daily quests or quests in general if you just had some type of way of letting the player know like hey, good ammo spawns on reserve. Hey, armor spawns on raiders. Hey, you can find teapots and safes. You know what I mean? Just like, and then it's like you'd sort of like have these things that all like interconnect. You know what I mean? So it's just like you like, okay, what do I want to do today? Well, I need good ammo so I can do this thing, so I can go here, so I can do this. You know what I mean? You sort of like have your own driving factors to go to these maps, and it's like yeah, and I'm going on a tangent. So, wrapping it back to I don't know, it's
Yeah, no,
just
I look,
like
we've talked about that before, but I think like there's not enough like right now for me, there's not enough like actual like very specific things to plan for to go and do to make that loop function correctly, if you know what I mean. Like if
yeah,
you some maybe boss hunting would kind of make sense, but the thing is like most Tarkov raids is like you never know really what's going to happen. You don't know who you're going to face against. You can't really you just kind of plan for like the general case. It's like very hard to say like, well, I'm going to go and get this specific ammo to go and do this thing because I can't do it without it. Like, and this is again what we
right.
were talking about previously about the flexibility of something that doesn't have a realistic setting in that you can say, well, I need to go and get this special ammo to go and kill this special monster because it's, defensive in this particular way.
Yeah,
But like none of that can exist within the Tarkov universe. So unless it's like going to the guy in Lighthouse to get the RPG to then go to streets to
sure.
blow the BTR up, like that's kind of equivalent
Yeah,
in some
yeah.
way. But outside of that, like people die when you shoot them with anything, and so it's difficult to justify just for like, oh, for an advantage edge or whatever, I'm going to go to here to get this thing and blah, 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 whatever. And on that topic, you don't need to right now because of the flea. They said the flea market is probably going to be limited further, will not be removed, but will potentially be limited further, which I think that's fine. I think that's a good thing. I think that's okay. Um, don't know exactly how, but
I did wanna
it's all right.
say, I don't know if it was in this podcast or a different one, and we might have touched on it already, but they were talking about I think it was the one with a previous one, but they were talking about, um, monthly tasks, but it was like faction-based stuff. I wonder
Yes.
how that will incorporate with their redesign of PMC Karma.
Yeah, I think that was on the one before. That was
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I think it's the important point about all of it is like what tools are they going to give to players to enable people to actually communicate? That's the question. VoIP
sure.
is one of them. It's not the only answer, in my opinion. You need to give players tools to communicate, right? It's like this is very obviously evidenced by Scav Karma. You give players quite literally like no tools to communicate, and everyone will cooperate pretty much. Like you punish people heavily for not doing it, and you give people no way to actually talk to each other. Then everyone will like everyone just becomes pacifist. Most people become pacifist.
Mhm.
That's just like the game theory like thing to do, you know, because it's like if everybody's
Well,
nice to each other, then fine.
yeah, especially when the rule sets incentivize the behavior, like
Yes,
the
and very strongly.
yeah,
Very, very
yeah,
strongly. And so I think that's the thing. It's like VoIP is great, but you like if you're going to be communicating or there's got to be a way like if you I don't know make like yeah make people buy an item right make people bring in like a radio or something so that like or I don't know, some intel or whatever it might be, so that you like at least know like maybe the location of the other people who are potentially friendly, or some way of like radioing to someone else on a similar band, so that you can like talk to another squad or whatever. Because like this whole identification from afar thing is just going to end up with like you're just getting shot so many times, like and then not for any reason other than just being like, oh, I don't know if they're friendly or foe, and I don't want to lose like PMC karma, and then you just get shot. And you're like, I don't know. And we need
yeah,
more. We need tools to be able to communicate. We need tools to be able to collaborate. You can't like VoIP is fine, but I think there needs to be more than that to make it work properly. You know, in a good way. Because people don't play Tarkov like they play their real life person, right? In real life, yeah, you know, you'd be very careful, and everybody's, you know, isn't that who is that? Have they seen me not or whatever? Whereas like Tarkov is ultimately a video game like all the others. You know, like it's got more at stake, but ultimately you respawn inside your hideout. So it's
sure.
you know not the same, and we need help. We need help to be able to get that same level of kind of people are going to shoot first and ask questions later, basically. And if you're on the more thoughtful end, you're just going to get shot in the face, and it's going to suck. So I feel like there needs to be some
Yeah,
help for people
it's like
to collaborate.
if you make PMC karma really detrimental if you do the bad thing, then as you're saying, if the tools aren't there to like reasonably determine friend or foe, then it's gonna feel really bad for the
Mm.
player because they're like,
Like
God,
and
I
nobody's
just
going to
lost
shoot each other.
Prapor. They say
Yeah,
again.
like no one's going to shoot each other. No one's going to shoot each other. Like
Yeah,
USECs aren't going to shoot bears either because they're not going to be able to tell who's who. And
right.
only maybe when you get like really close up is anybody going to say, you know, voice line, and then they have firefire or something stupid like that. But it's going to like do weird stuff to people's incentives around what to do. Like you need to be able to identify people much more easily. You need to be able to figure out whether people are friendly or foe much more easily. And yeah, people can backstab you and stuff, but you need to have like a
Sure.
line of communication, not just like proximity VoIP. It's a great start. Like don't get me wrong, proximity VoIP
Yeah.
is like, you know, it's like 60-70% along the route of like, you know, from where we are
Mhm.
now, which and I still think it's crazy that they put Scav Karma in without VoIP. I still think it's crazy.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was gonna say, reversing it a bit, if they put Scav Karma in and the punishments and incentives are like very low, then it's like the status quo hasn't changed at all. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah. And then it
yeah,
won't make any
so
difference.
it's
Exactly. And it'll make
they
no
have a
difference at all.
very difficult task to do. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. But we'll see what they do. What I have written down next, I have prestige system for non-wipe servers. This is on the non-wipe servers, that I think that this is what they said.
I
But a
just
prestige
don't
system.
know, man.
Thing is, you don't have to prestige.
Yeah,
You don't have to. You don't need to. It's not enforced. I think it's great. I love this idea
I
because if you
guess.
don't want to do it, like, well, what difference would it make to like you, for example? Like, none
Mhm.
really. You're just probably like facing off against less sweaty people overall, like in general, because those people who would be like 65 plus or something, some of them are now level 14, or more likely like the same level as us, 40 or something, because they've played for like 3 days and they're level
Mhm.
40 already. But anyway, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
the
it takes some of that top level pull and brings them down. Like, I don't think it'll affect most people. Most players won't ever get to that stage where they're prestiging anyway. So it's just about a rebalancing of the top level players.
but it's yeah, it's just, it's I don't even know if it's like it's like a top level player thing that really what does it do? It just sends them back through the loop, but they keep Kappa. and they keep their skills,
Mhm.
possibly. I'm not sure actually about that. That
Maybe.
that might have been a point, but it's just like, I don't know, I don't know, it just seems like I don't really think that's I don't know. If it's like okay, so that's on the non-wipe servers, then,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know. Because for me,
I mean, I'm all for it on both.
I want something that's like prestige my stash, but, like the average player, quote unquote, you know what I mean? I want something that's more just like keep Tarkov for me, I was thinking about this the other day, feels like a one-way door. I want something that's a revolving door, right? Like you go in, like it's constantly and Nikita talked about this too. He was like, he wants to make it where in regards to free market, where it's like optimal for any player to join. Not just like at the start of the wipe, at in the wipe, you don't it's like, "Oh, if I start now." I just saw somewhere, I can't remember where, but someone was like, "Yeah, there's no sense in me playing now because I don't feel like getting stomped." I think it might have been a comment on your video, actually. But it's just like, to me, it is sort of like a one-way door. Once you go to that door and you reach the end, that's it, but if you have something where it's like, it's a revolving door, it's constantly spinning, and it's just, like, pushing players in and out, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't come in here, and then I'm, like, in the revolving door, and then I just get spit out, and I run back around the building, and I go back in, I want something I think that would be more ideal because you could, like, constantly have the experience instead of it being like, "Oh, I reached the end, let me go run back around and then carry some things over and go through the tunnel again, that door, that path." I don't know. To me, it's more optimal because it's approachable and that yeah, I'm not going through the door when 50 million people have already reached the end of the other side of the door. I'm like going in the door as other people are also going in at different. I don't know. And now the analogy is crumbling before me.
How would you do it differently then? How would you like, what's the what would you just don't like you just like don't like the prestige thing at all?
It's not that I don't like it, like, it's fine, you know what I mean? It's fine, but I don't feel like it's, like, groundbreaking for me with, like, those core issues of Tarkov. I don't know. For me, Tarkov is weird in that it's very linear progression but, like, the core gameplay is non-linear progression. Do you know what I mean? Once you go into the raid, you can loot stuff, you can die, you have a net loss in your stash, like, you lost progression, but yet outside of the stash, you do all this progression that unlocks you all these things that are just like a dead end. Like it's a weird hybrid thing. I want it to be more like oh, I'm gonna go and do this. If I'm gonna play Tarkov, I get like you swing up and down in progression, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that's more oscillating instead of like a steady curve that just like constantly rises. And then it's like, oh man, when's the wipe? When's the wipe? Because I'm bored. I have a million, thousand, hundred rubles and 50 million. It's like, okay, guys, yeah, we have to wipe. You know what I mean? We gotta test new content. We gotta reset the cycle. I'm just saying if you made the game where it's like it's constantly cycling players, you know what I mean? I don't know. Something like
I
that.
agree. Look, I agree with you in principle. I think that yes, whilst I agree, I also think the prestige is good.
Yeah, and I'm
I
not
think
I'm not
like
saying it's bad. It's just I'll
it's
take
not
it.
groundbreaking, and but it'll make yeah,
Right.
exactly. We'll take it. It's like it's free effectively, and will it'll affect a small minority of top level players who get fed up,
Right.
bored,
Right.
frustrated,
Right. Right.
whatever, and like start again. Like that's it ultimately, and it's easy to do. It's easy to do. It's like someone, they press the button and you do the wipe account script, except
Yeah.
instead you then go wipe account plus kappa, and that's
Yeah.
it, or whatever it is, like plus skills, or whatever they need to do.
And maybe they
So I think
can grind for a new tracksuit of some sort. I don't know.
whatever, like whatever these
Mhm.
people who play, more than 20 seconds every fortnight like to do when they play FT.
You would drop a
I have
Fortnite reference.
I can only play the game for 20 minutes and I have 5,000 children. I've started seeing those memes pop up on Twitter. It's quite funny.
Uh,
I have 20 wives and kids and three
you
full-time jobs and 6,000 children. I only get to play the game for 17 and a half seconds every 3 weeks. It is funny because you just see those comments like so often.
Yeah.
Um, the only other thing that I really have written down that's kind of interesting is like full loadout presets, which they've got in the works, I think. Which meh, maybe okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't tend to find myself just buying like full loadouts of the same stuff. Like I was actually just telling myself off today in the stream of just being like, dude, I'm changing weapon, like caliber every raid. I'm just like, right, out with the 5.56, in with the BS ammo. Okay, out with the BS ammo, out in with the 3.66 AP, out with that, in with the MP7 FMJs. It's just like every time I'm changing it. So I don't know whether it will really help me, but it might. It might. It'd be kind of nice to have like some like default set loadouts,
Oh, yeah, quality life feature-wise, yeah.
Ratnik rig, and then
Yeah.
sorry, there's the rat rig, the Ratnik helmet, and like a I don't know GSSH or something, and then like
Yeah.
one of the base things. Even just like the basics, like I would like to buy
Your
a car kit
mask.
and a
Yeah,
yeah,
all the
that kind of stuff
meds.
exactly. Like the Shamad thing, and like a car kit and a bandage and a hemostat, and then also like rat rig, whatever. Like you can just buy like the base stuff, and then you can like. It's not like you don't need. I guess you wouldn't need to do everything. You could just do like the things that I always take, and then like, oh, now I'm going to run an M4, now I'm going to run this, and I'm going to run that, which would be kind of neat. So yeah, no, that should be good. Quality of life, whatever, it's decent.
I don't know if you're like me, but I have a shopping list, and every once in a while, I'll do the shopping list, so I buy all the, D-ball flashlights that you can per reset. I buy all the EOTechs you can per reset. I buy all the shifts you can per reset. I buy all the skeletonized ARs you can per reset. And I just buy all these things, and then I buy all the guns, and then I build all the presets. I mean, this takes some time, and then you put it in these boxes and whatnot. And then when it's like when you die, it's like okay, I just have to alt click a couple different things inside these boxes. Um, so it as a quality of life feature, like I like it because I wouldn't have to do that. I would probably still buy the parts per reset because I wouldn't be
Trader
prepared.
resets.
Yeah, I wanna be prepared, like, I wanna have all this stuff since I have the ability to have it, I wanna have it. If I run, like, medikits all day and I die a bunch of times, I don't wanna be like, "Okay, well, I can't build another medikit because it's like this part's gonna cost me an arm and a leg," and I don't know, it's just the min-maxer in me. So but part of me also doesn't like this Giga because I feel like it's going in the wrong direction, man. The same thing. It's just oh man, like what's next? We're gonna remove rubles so we don't have to what's the word? Struggle to get the rubles. Like I don't know. Part of me feels like it would be cool to that. It's like you don't always have access to everything. You get to like scrap together a cool kit. Like I don't know. It's just part of me is just like oh, we're like kind of going I don't know. I just feel like you're kinda going like, I welcome it, but I also just, like, worry, like, what's the direction going? I don't know, it's weird.
I know exactly what you mean, oddly, because I actually don't think I'll use this feature all that much, actually, because I'm just not really like that. Um, I definitely don't build guns the way that you do like that. I just like I'm nowhere near like organized enough or whatever. But I know what you mean because the sentiment behind that is not the direction that they have indicated they want the game to go in. So why invest resources in coding this stuff if ultimately you're not going to be able to buy everything free flowing off the traders and the flea market
Mhm.
anyway, which would make a loadout preset kind of a moot point and not useful. Like, I definitely get that. And there's things to be said, right? That this stuff, it's like you said, I welcome it, but
Yeah.
and it's like it's there's silly things which like some of the cool stuff. Oh, I say cool stuff, but the things that were awesome at the beginning of Tarkov being like how meticulous the game was, how meticulous the game made you about your stash, about where things were, like stupid stuff. Like it's like stupid and it's not really good. It's not good game design in some ways, but things like now
Yeah.
we've got all these nice like magazine and ammo quality of life adjustments, and this is great, right? Don't get me wrong. These things are good. These things are good for the game. But do I feel like maybe, and then I feel really stupid for saying this, right? But like, do I feel like we've like maybe lost a little bit of like the feeling of the game by now? Like, I just basically buy all the ammo I need, I shove it all down in the bottom in like a series of boxes, and
Mhm.
when I need ammo now most of the time. I like grab the magazines that I need. I go right click, fill with, fill with, fill with.
Mhm,
And if I
mhm,
need like, it's actually more efficient. So if you want to like half stack your mags, for example, you fill with the crap one, you unload that,
mhm.
you then you swap the two stacks over, you put the two stacks back in, and then refill the top bits
Yeah.
in your stack. And you're like, you leave one round to go into your secure container, so you can have ammo there. You then split that stack and you go top up, top up. Like, don't even need to look in my ammo boxes. Don't need to know where the ammo is. Like, this sounds really silly, right? Because it's like it's really annoying to have to like go and fiddle around with all that stuff. But like some of the fiddling around is like the joy of the game in some ways.
Mhm.
And also the frustration and also the pain and also the like, where is that ammo? Where did I put it? You have to like manage it yourself. There's like I don't feel like I feel like it's like 95% a good thing. And I feel that there is a very small amount of feeling lost every time you abstractify this stuff with quality of life, which is like I don't think there's really anything that you can do anything about, to be honest, because you want the game to be more playable. But it's like it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same. It's just not
I
quite the
mean,
same.
it's like it's a weird thing because the next step for that would be you you just say what mag you want with what type of ammo. Like, you don't even have to, like, load it up, you know what I mean? Like,
It just
it's
buys it.
yeah, it just comes ready, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
and it's like we're moving away from that because it's a RPG inventory system, you know what I mean? It's like I understand it's like quality of life, but it's also like it's hybrid right now in some like with the loadout presets, it's major hybrid. But like we're going further to like dare I say it,
It's
Call of
it's
Duty.
very it's very interesting, right? It's like some of the beauty of Tarkov and what makes it so special is how you can sit there in the stash and you can and you feel like you've like hand
Yes.
loaded the rounds one by one into
Yes.
those mags lovingly so that you can get one tapped within 7 seconds of loading in. That's the real Tarkov experience.
Yeah.
Your lovingly crafted kit and you didn't even get to fire a shot. That's the game right there. And you spent 30 minutes in the hideout. Particularly choosing which, do I go IFAK or Salewa, or am I going to cheap out and go for a car, or I might even just throw in a cheese square as well. Who knows? Maybe just go crazy and throw a cheese square in, and then yeah, and then you get killed instantly, and none of it mattered. That's like that's like the thing. But I don't know. No, you know what I mean? I'm being silly at this
Yeah,
point, but
yeah.
like it's the
But
same thing. It's
but
like
no.
there is a feeling of like lovingly crafting all the stuff and like having to go through and manage it yourself and blah 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 blah, and it's yeah, I don't know. I do think maybe something gets slowly detracted, and like the movement that they're going through is like people who want to just like go into raid, 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 churn, churn, churn,
Right.
smash on a kit, bam, 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 off they go. And that was like that's not really the feeling that they're going for. I don't think from everything that we've heard and everything that they've said, and that the game's going to get slower and the game's going to get slowed down. Where I was like, that's not the route, right? So maybe it's just temporary quality of life because it's like relatively easy, and someone's just been put on the project because they say, oh, they can do it on the side of doing the other stuff they're doing, and they put it in for now while we've got like another year maybe of pre-release, and until then it'll kind of keep people a bit happier, and maybe they've got ideas they want to use it for something else too. Like maybe it'll be they can use it somewhere else, synergize it for arena or something. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say.
Um,
Maybe they could port it into Arena because you would just
mm,
like I mean, the framework's there, you know what I mean? I could totally see that.
yeah, and you say, well, you've got these arena credits, and then this is the loadout that I want to
Yeah.
buy with that, and bam, bam, right? And it's arena. That's the place for arena. So maybe it's that. Maybe they're
Mhm.
well, we're doing some work on this anyway, so we'll build this system too, and like then we can move that to the arena team, or maybe someone in the arena team is making this, and they're saying, fine, but I'm going to test it in Tarkov first itself, and then I'll just use that code later. Who knows? So maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. I would just like I just don't want them to like. I'm sure they're not, and it literally doesn't matter what we say about it. But I don't want them to like waste their time on quality of life features that ultimately won't matter. That's the
Right.
thing. I think that's it really. It's just like don't
Yeah.
waste your time on it. Like go and look at the blue helmets and the Russian forces instead. Like don't make a loadout preset. Go and make better AI or more diverse AI, I should say.
Um, the kind of transitioning, did you see in Nice Guy's latest video about oh, I think the title was, like, related to,
Nice
like
guys made this video about everything.
yeah, it was, like,
That one,
everything we know, like,
the video
what
about
to
everything.
expect coming up. I don't know, but within it, he did talk about raid timers and extraction and how this was all supposedly a temporary thing.
Hmm.
And to tie it in with what we just talked about, how you're like imagining you're in your stash, you're loading up your mags. Like if all this was like we actually acted it out in the game, like, I don't know, not in the menus, but literally you're in your hideout manually, searching through your ammo boxes like, "Where's that M855A1? I know I put it in here." But, like, you know what I mean? It's like that you get that feeling in the menus, sort of, in a way. I can see what
Yeah.
you're saying. Like you are
Hmm.
playing Tarkov, but you aren't playing Tarkov. But if you were like actually acting it out in the hideout, and then you leave your hideout and you're like walking in the custom and get one tapped. I don't, anyways,
Yeah.
all that being said, did you see that part about how we're like, maybe open world's coming, maybe we'll see a because he wasn't to me, it wasn't like a clear yes or no, like
I did see it. Yeah, I did. I did. Um, he basically said like if I read it because I've only listened to through it once and I didn't make any
yeah.
notes about it. Um, but he basically said as far as what I could take
Mhm.
from his discussion on it was that raid timers originally were in the game as a placeholder because of how raids work,
Right.
because they couldn't think of how to do it better in the short term. They wanted to get rid of them completely when they went to open world, but now it sounds like they might stay
Yes.
because they actually quite like the idea of time pressure for the extraction
That
because it
is
kind of makes you go and do stuff.
yeah.
All fair, all fair points. That's fair. I mean, sitting around forever for all eternity. Actually, one interesting thing of playing the cycle where there's not really like there's a storm, but you can stay and sit through it. Like there's no pressure to leave. I quite like the pressure to leave. Also, I agree with them.
Yeah. Well, I agree and I disagree because I do feel like there is an inherent pressure of the longer you stay, maybe it's a fallacy, but you feel like you got all this loot on you. It's like, God, the extract's like just right there. You know what I mean? Like it is kind of weird
Yeah,
in the cycle. Sometimes it's like you get that temptation. You see it. It's not your evac, but someone else evac next to you. It's like, oh God, I could just like it's right next to me. I could just go for it, bro. And then you die, and you're like, stupid
that's true.
game.
The pressure, like the pressure, comes from you and like what you've achieved. Then, which is also the same in EFT in some ways, because it's like, oh, I've got done like 2 quests and I've got a bunch of kills. I think like one thing that in EFT that builds pressure for me is just like, oh, I've done like loads of stuff and I've killed like loads of scavs, got loads of headshots, whatever, like killed PMC, looted loads of things, and I don't want to lose that like survivorship bonus on the EXP. The one and
Yeah,
a half
that's
times, and
true.
like it sucks to
Yeah.
die and then get like, and you get like I don't know. I mean, no, I don't really have high XP raids, but like you get like 6K or something for like a great raid. And you're like, man, that could have been 10K if it was,
Yeah.
if it was like you're on reserve or something. You get like 20K raids where you got killed by a raider at the end. You're like, man, that could have been like 30K if I'd left like another 10K. That's like 2 daily quests, or it's like a
Right,
couple
right.
of couple of normal raids where you don't really see many people on customs or whatever. It's it's interesting. So yeah, I don't know. I think so. I quite like having. I still quite like having the timed exfils though.
Yeah, I
In some
kinda
ways, if each exfil, like I would do wish each exfil had like its own time on it. And we talked about this previously, right? Where you can have like windows of time for different ones and a bit more of like
yeah.
dynamic stuff on the exfils, which like would be fine in open world. But yeah, I think it's okay. I think just like releasing it completely, you end up with like the people always, and I say people, I always talk about DayZ, but a lot of other people talk about DayZ as well when they're thinking about open world survival because it's one of the best um,
Mhm.
analogous games to EFT, because Rust is like, it's its own thing, there's base building and stuff. And
Mhm.
like, yeah, you can build a little base in DayZ, but it's not the same. You're not building like fortresses and lock
Mhm.
things, whatever. Especially, well, not when I played anyway. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but like more my experience came from the Armor mod, the not DayZ standalone, the old one.
Yeah.
I mean, that was analogous in many ways, but that meant that you ended up with like vast periods of time where you did not see anybody, you did not do anything really of any merit, and it's an enormous time sink for not a lot happening. And I like the pressure in Tarkov. I like the way that raids finish within a certain time limit. Like you kind of know how long, like when you press go, you kind of know how long you're going to be in. It could be much much shorter, but you kind of know where the maximum stands, which I quite like. And yeah, I think it makes it more stressful. It does, again, with all these things, right? It's trade off. So
Sure,
the
sure.
moments in DayZ where you're like lulled into false sense of security because you haven't seen any, you're just like crafting and stuff, doing other things because there's other stuff to do, right? It's like non-combat stuff to do,
Yeah.
and you're doing all that kind of stuff. And like an hour and a half in, you get shot by some DMR or like shot at with like a DMR. And there's like those moments are like both the best and like the worst, most horrifying
Yeah.
moments of all time because like you're not really expecting it. Right? I was like in Tarkov, you're always expecting to be shot most of the time. Like sometimes you can be like not really paying attention properly or like looting or whatever, but like you're always in that state of like heightened awareness when you're playing EFT. Whereas I found myself in DayZ like quite often just like either just like not really doing much or like looking at something else or thinking or like looking up something maybe or like looking at the map or whatever. And it's just
Hmm.
like especially when you're with a group of friends and you all kind of like go, where are we going to put this camp? What about this thing? Or put a tent here, or no one can see it from there. Da, da. And then someone just gets their head taken off, and you're like, and like everyone's just like running around. It's just like completely crazy. It's just like all plan gone, like total panic. Like that doesn't really happen in Tarkov, but I think like
Yeah.
I think that's like I'm okay. That's the thing. Like I'm okay to lose that to get more action and to have like more pressure. I think it's
Right.
fine.
Yeah,
I think it's fine.
there's definitely pros and cons there for sure.
Yeah, so I think it's okay. I think it's all right. I think that was pretty much it. I mean, the only other thing that I wanted to because we're kind of like I don't want to run on too long talking about every single
Mhm.
little thing. But how has Unity 2019 been for you so far? Have you
So
had any issues?
the one thing I noticed, I was playing on Factory and I was playing online and I was streaming and I was getting about 70 FPS. Like I could to feel it. I pulled up
Mm,
my hardware. Um, I can't think of the name, but I pulled up my frames and yeah. So I immediately would start troubleshooting. And in the past, when I've had this issue, what I typically done is like select full screen in the options, but I didn't really do anything. So then I switched to windowed and then back to full screen because I prefer exclusive full screen for the input, the lower input latency. You can go borderless, but it's not the peak of gaming performance. So that bumped me up to like 90, 91.
okay,
like a better average. So that was like really okay, so when I boot the game up, I have to do that. But otherwise, I mean, from what I understood, Unity shouldn't really bring anything now at the bare minimum. So that's
okay.
I
So
don't know.
you've been okay then. You've been okay.
That's been my thing, but I don't know,
Yeah,
dude. I don't track it as much as I don't keep up with the stuff as much as I would in other games, mostly because it's Tarkov and everything's an unoptimized mess, and one day everything could break, and then yeah, so
yeah. So yeah, I was playing Shoreline and the game loaded and I had it was very dark and kind of overcast type thing, like not quite a storm, but like just before
mhm.
in the weather. And I loaded in and I had 50 FPS straight off the bat, which was
Ooh.
nasty, really nasty. That was just like looking around normal. And then as I started to run around, like all my audio was like doubled. So, but like like minutely out of sync with itself. So I'd be like going through trees and it'd be like, but like but like a tiny, like smaller than that. Like you could tell when you heard it, like two footsteps on like right on top of each other, but like very slightly
Mm.
spaced apart. And it was like it was rough. It just felt everything felt horrible. It felt awful. I basically just like ran to extract. It was grim. It was really bad. And I played like a couple of different shoreline raids. I was just doing sniper skill rubbish, so I wasn't doing anything sensible. Um, but like I played a couple of other shoreline raids and they were all fine. And I had like don't know, like 70 to 90 FPS, depending on like where I was and what I was doing and blah blah, and it was all fine. And then like yeah, that one raid that was just like super randomly scuffed out of no for no reason at all. And I sent them the bug report and said like, guys, this one was completely broken in this way and this way and this way. And I keep getting, and this is not just me, I keep getting either grenade pin sound like right next to you
I've heard
or key
this.
sound right next to you. And it's like it scares the ever loving shit out of me every time it happens. Swear to God. Like the first couple of times, like I thought it was I don't know whether it's always the key, because I could have sworn it was grenade pin. And I like wasn't even loaded up at the time, and I was just like I'm about to get vogged by somebody who's like spotted my AFK, body or whatever in a bush with a VPO. And I load it back up and just like, creeper, there's nobody here. It's very strange. But yeah, there's like some weird sounds. So it's there's some weirdness going on, I think. There's definitely some weirdness, like an audio weirdness in particular. Just other things like,
Yeah,
you know,
this is
people
what
are
I've
firing in the
seen.
distance, and there's like the gun sound is like clipped at like both
Yeah,
the start and the
right.
end. It's just like just plays like the middle of like the
Yeah.
M4 is just like it's just like and that's it. Just like the middle of an M4 sound. It's like cut off at the start and the end. It just sounds awful. And it's like, oh my goodness. The directionality sounds alright, so you can tell where it's coming from, but it's just like not, yeah, it's not good. So there's like definitely some audio stuff that I've been having, and some like yeah, some like FPS issues in certain situations as well. But you know, these are just like these are teething issues. You know, I'm sure they'll fix
Yeah.
this kind of stuff and get us back to like kind of where we were previously. I've actually got a really strange I have a really strange bug, which I haven't reported because it's too minor for me to bother. But when I go into my messenger to collect stuff from Ragman or
Mhm.
Crap or whoever, instead of going to like the one on the top, it pings me down to the latest player message that I have had with somebody, which is super weird. And it like drops me down to this like message that I had with a dude like last wipe, where he shot me on pier when I was fighting someone else on pier, and he killed me from the shoreline, and then messaged me later and was just like, "Oh, sorry, bro, I really hate the shoreline quest." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I was just like memeing around with an M9." And he keeps like jumping me down to this stupid chat every time. It's like really annoying. Like I just
Yeah.
want it to be like on Ragman so I can collect my rubles from the flea market because that's mostly what I use it for. But that's just like yeah, that's very very minor, so I haven't bothered with that. But yeah, it's just like some small things and sometimes some terrible raid performance. Like, do you find like so with the full screen thing? Do you like do that every time you start the game? Do you always do
Yes.
that?
I go
Like
to
you
now
turn it down and
it's
put it
my
back in?
religious, yeah, it's a religious thing. You switch the window and switch the because
Mm.
I even noticed it in the lobby that the because I don't know if you do this, but I run the NVIDIA hack, the FPS hack where you it's oh god, it's a weird thing, but you force VSync on in game, I think, but in your NVIDIA drivers and for Tarkov.exe, the preset, you force it off, and then that gives you uncapped FPS. And then I run a third-party app, Riva Statistics Tuner, that caps the game's FPS to 140. I know it's a weird thing because otherwise you get what is it like 60 in the lobby and then 120 in game, and it's like
I think so.
I just I I don't trust Tarkov's FPS limiter that's built into the game. Um, Riva Statistics Tuner is it has better frame timing, if I recall. This is all like, nerdy stuff that I'm into, but so anyways, long story short, yeah, I noticed in the lobby, I was like, it felt when you were you know how you like change from traders to your character, it does the animation. The animation felt really weird and not
Hmm.
smooth. So I pulled up my frame counter and I was like, yeah, I was getting like 70 in the lobby. Then I was like, what? Because I should be getting 140 most of the time,
Yeah.
right? So, anyways, yeah, that's I don't know why that's it again, that could just be for me because I have this very like convoluted VSync
Yeah.
on, VSync off, thing and whatnot.
Because
So
I used to not have to do any of that stuff because I had an AMD card anyway before. And then now I don't have to do any of that stuff because I have NVIDIA Reflex turned on. And so that just sets it like when you load up your frame counter, it says like frame limit inf. So it's just like infinity. There's no limit with Reflex, which is kind of cool. But I do say I do actually get a tiny little bit of screen tearing, but I think it's more on my monitor than anything else.
yeah,
So it's not very noticeable, to be honest. It doesn't really bother me very much, but I'm actually very tempted to get like a G-Sync monitor or something just to fix that because like my monitor is really old. I think we've discussed my monitor previously. Like I run like a DisplayPort to VGA adapter for my monitor. There's the one that I normally game on, and it's like
they
actually crazy how old that monitor is. Like yeah, the blue cable.
oh
I go from
no,
DisplayPort to the blue cable with
dude.
like
I didn't
eight
even think they
pins
make
and like
that.
and the telegram line or whatever. No, it's just it's
There's like a
quite it's
There's a giant converter box in the middle that takes the digital signal and like converts it to the lowest possible analog.
Yeah, it's mad. My setup's a bit of a mess, if I'm honest. But that's the one. I'm just like I've played on it for so long that it's just like I don't like it playing on other monitors. I have like kind of
Yeah.
cheap IPS panel. I don't think the colors are as nice. But anyway, I don't know. Like the window thing's kind of interesting. I should actually probably look into doing that and seeing
Yeah,
if I
try
can, because
it.
I have noticed sometimes when I load the game up, it looks like it's like when it like loads and freezes, it looks like it's loading a window, and then it goes into full screen, and I'm like, is that real full screen or is this like I'm not sure. Even though it just says full screen, but
Yeah.
it's very hard to know. And so yeah, maybe I should just do that. Just change it out and change it back in again. It's no harm really.
Assuming this is correct information, if you alt tab and it goes black for a second and minimizes, that should be exclusive full screen
Mm,
behavior because there's like windowed full screen where it's like you alt tab seamlessly. But
yeah,
there is that's the thing, there is no exclusive full screen option in the thing. It just says full screen. So I don't know. I think
that's true.
you know. Anyways,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, hopefully these bugs are going to get ironed out,
yes,
and it'll be all good. I don't know. We will see. We will see. But they're relatively minor, except for like the one, except for going into a raid and it like really sucks. Like other than that, they're relatively minor. Yeah, I don't want to get 50
yeah.
FPS when I'm playing Shoreline, but it was weird the weather too. I was like, maybe the weather's got something to do with it. I'm not sure. It was like super weird. It was like really dark, like just before the storm weather. I was like, I'm not sure if I've even seen this before. Oh yes, the other thing, right? So this is completely different. But what I wanted to talk about, I mentioned previously just about how like scavs were pretty good, and like I've been continuing to notice scav behavior as time's been going on, and it's yeah, I'm really enjoying the new scavs. Honestly, they're like the way that AI performs now is great. Actually, I'm really liking it. You know, they run a long way when you shoot at them. They like run all the way back, like way into cover and stuff. Like it's interesting.
I'm not the biggest fan, and here's why.
You know what? Okay.
Okay, I like that it's been improved. I think it is an improvement
Mhm.
because they do seem a bit more intelligent, but I don't like how you shoot them, and as soon as they receive damage, they instantly do a 180 and start running away. Like, it's so unrealistic, and it's just, like, like, it's, like, pure like, I don't know. I wish there was
Yeah.
a little bit of compromises. They just feel a little it
They
doesn't
don't just like go run to the immediate cover and like stop or like go low, like go prone or something. Or they do sometimes, but yeah, it's
they do weird stuff, like, I don't know, like,
they normally run
they'll
away.
okay, I this one's a classic one, they'll, like, see me and they'll yell at me, and as they're yelling, they're going to prone position, but because he went to prone position, he's not shooting at me, so he stands back up and starts like, it's just like, it feels like they said, "Okay, random actions equals 1." You know what I mean? It's like, as soon as, like, they just do random stuff I don't know, I wish there was, like,
You notice that.
a little bit more on, like, the balance side, and then we could use
Hmm.
a little bit more realist, like, maybe it's like, yeah, he still does the 180, but he does it, like, a millisecond afterwards, like, just something to make it a little bit more I don't know, but that's my only gripe.
I've noticed them doing like a kind of like where they see you and then do the weird like dolphin dive, but they're already turning and then they stand back up and then run and stuff, and you're just like, whoa, what's
Yes.
going on? They're like, I don't know. I like it hasn't really bothered me. It hasn't really bothered me. I think the behavior in general is so much better that it's fine because they used to just be like the opportunity, right? And then you're like, and then they're just like crab walking around like trying to shoot you sideways, like it's the way it used to be. It just
Mhm.
looks super weird. Whereas now it's a lot better than that. You know, they'll like go behind cover and they actually
Yeah.
like lean out in cheeky angles and try
Yeah,
to shoot you
yeah.
and stuff.
That
Like if
part
you're
I
in a proper
like.
fight, if you're in a proper fight with them, then it's like actually pretty cool. Yeah, the running away thing and some of the movements a bit weird, but like I do like the actual fighting mechanics of them. Like they've got it a lot better. Like yeah, I like sometimes I can't tell whether I'm playing against a player scav or a regular scav now
Mhm.
when I'm actually in a firefight. Like sometimes it's hard to tell, but especially when the people are like peeking around like stuff. Um, I actually had a fight the other day that I'm still not sure whether it's a player scav or not. And I think it might have been a regular AI scav that picked up a load of gear inside gas station on customs because they had like a bunch of stuff on them, and I was like, maybe the scav just looted or something. I don't know, but it definitely felt like an AI when I was playing against them. But I was like,
Mhm.
it was kind of, they were like kind of, I don't know, just the way they were walking before, like it was just felt like an AI. But then they like played the firefight. I was like, that's quite smart. Like they're not always peeking out. It's not always leaning. Like, and then I killed them and they had a bunch of stuff on them. I was like, I can't tell. Like, I actually can't tell. I was like, this is good. This is actually a good thing. But I can't tell whether it's a player or an AI. And there's like specific scenarios where sometimes it's like it is actually quite tricky to tell now, which I think it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, part of that reminds me of when they first did the first iteration of random scav behavior when they'll like sprint in the power slide and they'll check their mag. And it's like you hear someone sprinting and you're like, oh, like let me wait. What is it? Oh, or player. And then they power slide and like, that's scav. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a scav. Yeah, and then it's like, let me just go shift W and kill him real quick. You know, so it's like in
Yeah.
their attempt to make it more unpredictable in some ways. Maybe, anyways.
Yeah, no,
The other
it's funny.
thing I noticed is they full auto you a lot more, unless it's a bug. I don't know, but I got absolutely mowed down a couple times by some player scavs. I mean AI scavs. Like just
Mm,
and I thought it was a player scav, just like you were saying, because they were just like one had like the 366 FMJ, and he was just shredding my legs, bro. Like just shredding my legs. And
uh,
I was like 100 HP away from death. It was insane.
that's
He
crazy.
just
Yeah.
full outed me with his 366 AK. It was just like it was no big deal. It's crazy.
Does that one even go full auto? I'm not even sure if that one goes full
No,
auto,
but
but
he was legitimately full auto. He was like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," like I was eating bullets, bro.
you're just like these macro users, and then it's like a scav AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did an offline raid on factory because I wanted a specific clip of like the visor smashing in a particular way,
Mm,
and I was like trying to just like peek my head out so I'd like get shot in the head, and like I had like one smash already, and then he like shot again, and then just went bada 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 bada, and I was just like poof, dead, like just straight out dead. I was like, man,
yeah.
because like I showed myself quite a bit. I was like, and we had like I wasn't shooting back, but it was like he shot at me like once, twice, I poked my head up again, 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 and then like I let him like walk backwards as my head became visible, and like
Mhm.
yeah, he just like tried like one or two, and then just like went nailed me completely, and I was like, this is decent.
Interesting. Yeah, because the fight that scav, I don't know what happened, but I was in stronghold area in like the little med room where all those crates are at, and there were shots going up and running going up on the floor above me. And I don't know if it was a player or what, but when I went up to check, I didn't see anything. I came back down. I noticed the scav was crouched up top, and he saw me. And then that's because I think that AI scav shot a few times at a player, and then when he saw me, he went into full auto mode, kinda like how you were describing. So I wonder if that's sort of like coding their behavior to fire a few warning shots and then, let's go full auto him.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's
Huh.
actually really nuts. I don't know. It's cool though. We'll continue to see what happens because this is on the new AI platform, isn't it? So they've
Right.
got the ability to like enhance this stuff in a better way than they used to.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's cool. I like scabs being scary. At least you have to like think about it. I mean, there's not really anything they can do if you like fight them and then you just go a different side and then flank them and then kill them. Like that's just the way to kill scavs, basically. It's always, to be fair, it's always been the way. Like, it's not really any different in like how you approach killing scavs now. It's just like, oh, they see you, and if you're like wearing some decent stuff, you can just like peek out and shoot. They
Mhm.
might get a shot off, but most of the time, you just like, oh, they saw you. You just go around the other side of the wall and like lean out that way and kill them instead. Like, it's just like you just flank. Like, you don't just like stand there and let them
Yeah.
fire at you. Just like it's never been the way. So, because sometimes, yeah, sometimes they kill you. But I think it's good. I like it. It's good, and they continue to
Yeah.
just tweak it and make it better. Oh, this is quite a big overhaul, but yeah, they'll tweak it from here, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting killed by AI scouts more often, like I have, and endless other ways that I can manage to get myself killed.
Yep.
But never mind, never mind. Ah, well, is there anything else you want to cover? I think we've gone on for quite a long
Yeah,
time. We
no, we
actually
should
have
probably
quite a
wrap
lot
it
to
up.
discuss.
We could save some stuff for, next week and
Sure,
whatever comes out then. Yeah, it's exciting, man.
exactly.
The seems like we'll steam ahead. I was kinda surprised that Unity came in when it did and whatnot. So,
hmm And then maybe December wipe. Who knows?
maybe?
No one really knows. Would kind of like work for timings, I guess, but I still thought it was going to be longer than that. But it seems like a lot of people think now it's going to be the end of the year. So I don't know.
I'm just saying, brothers, keep the faith, keep praying to your Nikita shrine every day, and maybe he'll bless us. I got mine over here. You can't see it, but
Yeah, John B's got his. I need to set mine up. I need to set it up in one of these holes over here in the new setup. Yeah.
cool. Well,
Cool.
I think we'll wrap it up there, guys. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Appreciate everyone listening, and yeah, catch you guys next week.
See you later.